Every kingdom has a story it tells its children. Veyra's story was a lie. They said the old king died of illness. They said his son died with him. Both were wrong. One of them survived. And tonight, 10 years later, he's coming home. 10 years ago, Prince Aren was 8 years old when the castle gates opened from the inside. His uncle, Lord Regent Malvorn, had promised loyalty for 20 years. That night, he collected on a different promise. The throne room burned. The king and queen never made it out. By morning, Malvorn had his story ready. The prince, he said, had struck down his own father in a mad grab for power and fled like a coward. No one asked why an 8-year-old would need to. They only needed someone to blame. Aren was hunted from the capital before the ash had cooled. He should have died that winter. Most exiles do. Instead, Aren learned to steal, to hide, to disappear into crowds that would have turned him in for a warm meal. Every year hardened something in him. By the time he was 15, the boy they'd exiled no longer existed. It was in those mountains that he found Sir Dallenrook, once the finest blade in the king's guard, now a hollowed-out drunk hiding from his own guilt. Dallin hadn't been able to save the king. He swore he wouldn't fail the son twice. What followed were 5 years that nearly killed them both. Aren died in those mountains by his own hand, if only in name. What walked back down was something else. A mask of blackened iron shaped like a crown with the jewels torn out. No name, no kingdom, just a promise, whispered every night before sleep. Malvorn would answer. The guards in Lowmarket District had grown lazy under Malvorn's rule, extorting merchants who couldn't pay the crown's new taxes. They didn't expect the man in the iron mask. 3 of them went down before the other 2 ran. By morning, all of Veyra was whispering a new name. 10 years of Malvorn's rule had turned Veyra into a kingdom that feared its own crown. Taxes crushed the poor while the regent's court grew fat. Any who spoke against him vanished. And when whispers of the masked man reached the throne, Malvorn had only one answer: send the Inquisitor. Kestrel Ames had been Aren's closest friend before the fire, and was now a captain in the very guard hunting him. She didn't believe the official story. She never had. When rumors placed the Hollow King in the same districts as her patrols, she started asking questions no one wanted answered. Kestrel found him first by accident, cornered in an alley after a job gone wrong. She had her sword at his throat before she saw his eyes through the cracked iron mask. Eyes she'd grown up with. She let him go that night. She told herself it was mercy. It wasn't. It was recognition. Their first true clash nearly ended the story before it began. The Inquisitor didn't fight like a man. He fought like a punishment. A single blow from that warhammer shattered stone like glass. Aren survived only by running, and for the first time since the mountains, the Hollow King understood fear. What Aren didn't know was that the man beneath that steel helm had also lost everything the night of the coup. His name had been Corin Vale, a guardsman who failed to save the queen. Malvorn had offered him a choice back then: die in disgrace or become the blade that erased his own guilt. He chose the mask over the memory. Proof was the only thing that could end this. Somewhere in the palace archives lay the treaty Malvorn had signed with the mercenary company that stormed the gates that night. Kestrel got him inside. What they found was worse than either of them expected. Malvorn hadn't acted alone. Half the court had signed their names beneath his. Sir Dallin had warned him someone would sell them out before this was over. Neither expected it to be Dallin's own son. Desperate for the coin Malvorn offered to any who delivered the Hollow King's mask. The ambush came at the old bridge, at the one moment Aren had let his guard down in 10 years. He should have died on that bridge. He didn't. What followed was a march on the capital that no one, not Malvorn, not the Inquisitor, not even Aren himself, was fully ready for. The throne room that had swallowed his family whole 10 years ago became the place where the lie finally ended, in fire, in steel, and in one mask finally coming off. Malvorn didn't die a villain's death. He died screaming a confession to a court that had finally stopped listening to him. The Inquisitor, unmasked at last as Corin Vale, chose to walk away rather than take a throne stained in his own guilt. As for Aren, he stood in the ashes of the room where he'd lost everything, and for the first time in 10 years, took the mask off. The kingdom didn't get its prince back. It got something it needed more. This isn't the end of his story. It's only where the mask finally came off.